Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We need to reject wholesale demonization of every person who has a brush with the criminal law. Persons who are released from prison should be given a second chance, and we need to enter into a new age of restoration and redemption. These are things that are listed in your conclusion, Mr. Jonas. And I think that those are very important ideals that we should seek to live up to. Oftentimes it's we ourselves that are the perpetrators of over-criminalization. Certainly the legislators are responsible, and certainly judges and prosecutors who both are elected are responsible for, getting tough on crime and throwing the book at people and implementing the policies that we enshrine into law. But I will ask you both, you're both members of the bar, you're both attorneys, you're licensed to practice law, and you know that when a person suffers a felony conviction and even misdemeanor convictions in many states, they are barred from being able to be licensed to practice law. Do you believe that those types of barriers, which are collateral consequences, do you believe that those should be removed from persons' ability to practice law, to get a law license? Mr. Heck?
Well, I think, like in any other collateral sanction, I think they have to be looked at the offense and the offender. And I think there are cases, we've seen it in Ohio, where those impediments have been removed. And someone who was convicted, say, for example, of voluntary manslaughter or murder, have become lawyers. Mm-hmm. We've seen it with a lot lesser offenses. And yet, at the same time, we've seen some cases where someone who was convicted of a theft or a fraud was not given the license to practice law in Ohio. So there has to be some type of parity also. There has to be some type of fairness and equity if we're going to have any collateral sanctions at all.
So you would be against blanket bans on all who have been convicted being ineligible to receive a license to practice law?
I would think blanket bans do not serve any public purpose. Blanket bans, mm-hmm. Correct.
All right. I guess that means what I asked.
I agree with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And Mr. Jones?
I would agree. I mean, unless you can show me that there's some public safety benefit that outweighs the individual right for a person to, get a law license after they've gone to law school and passed the bar and practice law, unless you can show me that there's some public safety benefit that outweighs that individual being able to practice law, then I would certainly say that you should not have that restriction and you should not have any automatic mandatory bans.
Do you know of any initiatives by the ABA or by any state bar association to address that particular issue? Either one of you?
No, I know the project of the Collateral Consequences of Conviction project did not entail that. It had to do with cataloging and just assembling and identifying all the collateral consequences, which was, again, a monumental task. But as far as the particular issue that you're talking about, I do not know of any state or the American bar tackling that yet.
All right, thank you. And how do collateral consequences disproportionately impact communities of color and the poor?
I think that just like we see a disproportionate as far as the imprisonment is concerned, I think that goes along with that because so many times the collateral sanctions are attached to a conviction. So I think that once you see the effect it has on the incarceration and imprisonment, you're going to see the thing on collateral sanctions. And I think collateral sanctions, especially as it relates to employment, as it relates to having an income and housing, really has an effect in that regard. Thank you.
The answer is profoundly. there are studies that show that African American men who have never been in, have never had any trouble with the law at all, are less likely to get a job than similarly situated white men with a felony conviction. There are studies that show that African American men are 7 times more likely to be arrested for crimes, particularly drug possession crimes, when the usage of drugs in those communities is the same. So the impact of these collateral consequences on African American individuals, their families, and society is profound.
Thank you.
The gentleman's time is